Gran Turismo World Series Online Qualifier, Manufacturers Cup, Round 4. Now being on my second attempt of this incredible race on Spa-Francorchamps in Group 3 cars, I'm driving my Nissan GT-R in drying conditions on dying intermediate tires, making up incredible pace on the person in front of me. A grueling 50-minute race with all sorts of changing weather, changing conditions, changing strategies. It's all coming down to the wire. I'm making up massive pace, and there might be a chance that I can make this pass up into 6th position. Only 6 corners remain, and I'm on the rear bumper of another Nissan GT-R. Even though it is the Manufacturers Cup and we're both running the same manufacturer, there's an all-out war for personal glory. Even though I've made up the time, his defensive driving is just something else. With these drying conditions, you really don't want to get off the racing line in case of an unforeseen puddle or just some random loss of grip. I needed to get past him fast. After an incredible run through Blanchimont, this happens. I get done with the race and I am quite proud of what happened. I thought that last move was a little bit dirty of my opponent there, and then I realized something. I think he said something about having a YouTube channel. Maybe he's got a replay of what happened.
Whoa, 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 really? Oh, okay. Okay. Come on. Scumbag, bro, I swear, bro. Scumbag, bro.
Okay, so that doesn't look great. From my perspective, my car ghosted out, came back. I was in the cockpit view, so I didn't have a great angle of where my car was. And many would chalk this up as a racing incident, but it looks like, honestly, by a couple of these camera angles, I think I was the one that started this bouncing back and forth, this kind of clashing, which I thought was, again, my rival. But after watching his reaction over and over and over again, it really got down to me that I need to be a better driver. Because if I cause an accident like that, you can tell that that probably ruined his evening. And from here on out, I'm going to try my best to drive my best so I don't look like the asshole in the room. World Series 2025, Exhibition 3, Nations Cup, Round 1. After my first attempt at the Red Bull Ring in the first round of the Nations Cup, I feel like things could have gotten better. I spent way too many times going in and out of the pits. The strategy wasn't correct, and I feel like I could have done a better job. So, I decided to have a second attempt, and once you have it, my rival Ash Dolo is back, and I have a chance that maybe I can prove to him that, hey, I am a much better driver than what you saw in that 4th round. I am a much better driver, that I can have clean overtakes, I can have clean fighting with my opponents, and not take them out. So this was my chance to redeem myself. So in this qualifying, I'm doing everything in my power to see if I can avoid them, taking evasive maneuvers when necessary, because now in a B rank lobby in the GT2 league, I am a much better driver than I was as a D rank driver in the GT3 league. I feel like qualifying went well, so I had a quick look at how his went. Now this isn't entirely clear here, but there was a person that got in front of me when I went to have that evasive maneuver, that decided to forget where their brake pedal was and take him out completely. They got a 3-second penalty, but as I was going in the same corner with all this carnage, I have a collision with somebody else and I gain my own 2-second penalty. So, as he rejoins the race, it appears that I'm the closest to him and I have a penalty, meaning he could have thought that I was the one that did this. So with 2 strikes to my name already, I have a point to prove that I can do a great race and not be in any collisions whatsoever. Having a rather mediocre qualifying, I start pretty low down the order, but as it goes with a wet Red Bull ring, the first corner became just an absolute mess. And somehow, some way, I'm promoted all the way up into 4th place. After having that first attempt and seeing how the rainstorms kind of divide up the race and how they evolve over time and when you really need to pit versus when you don't, and how you really need to stay on one set of tires versus another, I really had a good shot here and I was doing exceptionally well, hitting my pit stops perfectly, challenging the leaders when I can, and actually taking the lead for a massive majority of the race. For a large portion, I had an astonishing 10-second lead over 2nd place. Again, I knew when I had to hit my pit stops, so I felt confident. The last rainstorm had subsided, the track was drying, but when do you pit? When do you make that changeover from the intermediates and go to the softs? Do you go a little bit too early and maybe accidentally hit a puddle? Or do you go too long and lose so much time on dying intermediates when the opposition is catching up on much fresher tires? Lap 23 into lap 24 seemed to be the perfect pit window where you have 6 whole laps on astonishingly fresh soft tires, not a whole lot of time for them to degrade. But there's a very clear drying line here. You gotta be careful when you're offline though. So I go for the pits. And on the way out, the inevitable happens. Mediums, interesting. No, alright. Oh, that's he's got it then. Garnishing a 3-second penalty for crossing the pit lines. I am very unhappy. I've lost 2 places, but it's not over quite yet. I serve my penalty, and the people in front of me also pit, and suddenly I have a chance again. All this time being lost between my penalty, my pit stop, and my opponent's pit stops means that there's other rivals taking up this opportunity to close in. And this next person here really is taking it to the next level, saying that they'll do anything and everything they can in their power to make sure that they get in first place. Knocking me off the track once wasn't enough, but when they fell off and I came back and took the lead once again, well, see for yourself. If you brake check me, I'm going to absolutely explode. You're a piece of... While I was completely frustrated with the outcome of this event, in all honesty, this was still a great race, considering I am now finishing on a podium place well ahead of everyone else, but more importantly, ahead of Ashdolo, which meant that I could say, hey, look, I'm a great driver, I finished on the podium, and I didn't really have any issues here. I had great strategy, I had great pace, but honestly, I don't think he really cared about that, considering that he started all the way down to 14th and he finished in 5th. Honestly, that was an exceptional drive for him as well, and I'll commend him saying, awesome job, that's really cool. So after that incredibly challenging race in changing conditions in one of the fastest cars in the game, I said, you know what? I'm ready for round 2. Let's see what this has got. World Series 2025 Exhibition 3 Nations Cup Round 2. Round 2 occurred on Suzuka with a car list that can be described as no other than legendary, featuring cars from the GT7, the Japan Grand Touring Car Championship. Many people, like myself, chose the Lamborghini Diablo GT as it simply was just the fastest, as it had the highest top speed, and with Suzuka having lots of lawn straights, it seemed like this was the car to choose. I had done quite a bit of practicing using the world record time at the time trial, and I got a 207, and I know I could probably do better if I tried harder, but I was reaching the very top of my skill level and I didn't have that many hours left to really hone in my qualifying skills, so I chose that and just ran with it. And sure enough, I had a familiar face in this lobby. I'm still with the same guy. Oh my god. Like being reminded of an embarrassing moment from a college party, Ash Dolo was back to remind me that we had some unfinished business. We did qualifying with no issues, and between a meh qualifying, regardless, I was still in a very good mood. I felt like I had the car to beat. I knew the track well, and this is an interesting side effect of having all supercars. It sounds like a traffic jam. Why did they allow us to have horns in the lobby? The 90s supercars apparently didn't have their horns removed, which made for a very interesting session because you could actively, quote-unquote, communicate with the racers around you depending on how they behaved. First couple of laps went on without an issue until lap 3. God! On one of the more technical parts of the course that I was not very comfortable with, of course, I have a mistake and let pretty much everybody by, and now I have to do some catching up. And after quite a few very just great laps of putting my head down, I get a really cool opportunity. Can I get a double pass? No, we're being a little bit egregious. Sorry. There's a chance to nearly pull off a double overtake, but the fact that I was off the racing line means that I didn't have the grip and the tire temperature just correct and launch myself right off the course, and I lose the place, but thankfully nobody got hurt, and thankfully I didn't have another collision with Ash Dolo. After a lap of catching up, I finally reach Ash Dolo. Does this mean that we can finally have our close race and I can finally prove myself? Oh, Ash, no! Oh, man. I hope we can have a good, clean fight one day on better terms. A very uneventful run to the end, and I finished in 9th place. After finishing in 9th place, I felt like I had more to give. This was only my first attempt, so normally I'll give it at least 2, maybe 3 attempts. So I went back in for a second attempt. And as you would have it, I was not the only one that felt the same. Ash is back for a vengeance. God, they're just gonna keep putting us in the same lobbies, aren't they? We return to qualifying, and he takes a rather opportunistic pass, if you will. Come on, man. At this point, I had mistake after mistake after mistake with dealing with other drivers who would not give you the room and just simply were just pushing you out of the way. I was not able to even put together a single lap, which provided with the worst qualifying performance I've ever had, where I didn't even get a time. Most people would feel that a poor qualifying performance and starting in last is a curse, but I actually felt in this situation was actually a blessing, considering we're on Suzuka and we're in the lobby full of drivers that were not capable of giving each other room. I foresaw a massive accident happening in the first sector and maybe being able to capitalize on it. While the first sector went well, it turns out my wish was finally granted. Surprised nobody made any devastating mistakes yet. There it is. Now I can go. Quickly being promoted up into 11th, I'm now starting to have very close fighting with this Honda NSX up in front of me until I notice a familiar face. Ooh, is that Ash? Sure is. While the fighting with the Honda NSX had continued, my rival Ash Dolo had actually made up some places, and now it became a three-way fight for the 6th position. Is this finally the moment that I can have a close battle and really prove who I was? And he had a mistake. Goddamn. Well, I was grimacing at the fact that all these mistakes meant that ultimately I wouldn't be able to have this one-on-one matchup with Ash Dolo. I had my own mistake. What's this? What is he doing? I don't like that at all. If he's weaving, it means that he wants to cause some trouble, and I don't like that at all. And now he is directly behind me with only a couple of seconds to go. Is there a final chance that we can have this matchup that we've been dreaming of? I got this though, he won't be able to catch me. Yeah, see? He already lost 2 seconds since 1 corner ago. Unfortunately, no. Fortunately, not needing to pit or anything, I have a final dash for the end. Can I make up a place? I can. Hell yes. Yes! Nice. 7th place. It's not over until it's over. Don't run off yourself. No, don't run off the course. After setting the personal goal of trying to reach better points than in my first attempt, 7th it was. But not only that, there's an extra little cherry on top. Clean race. All right. All right, I'll take that. 66. At the closing of round 2, we're now tallying up the points, and my 140 is just barely beating out my rival at 108. Does that mean that this fight is over? Absolutely not. Considering that we're so close in points at such a similar driver level, I imagine that my wish that I had earlier in this video will come true. I hope we can have a good, clean fight one day on better terms. So that's my one piece of advice here for you today is be on your best behavior, because you never know who you're going to be in a lobby with. And more importantly, you never know if you're going to be in the same lobby with them again. And actually, that's kind of good life advice as well, because there have been so many times as a personal experience where I had a poor experience with somebody and just kind of brushing off thinking that I'd never see him again. And then sure enough, I have interactions with them again. I'm kind of going, man, I probably should have handled that a little bit better the first time, shouldn't I have? So, down in the comment section below, let me know if you've created your own rivalries with people you've met online. Let me know if you're still hunting them down, or let me know if you're actually on good terms with them, if you're actually good friends. Of course, if you enjoy this content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Fanatec affiliate down below, and check out my merchandise store at oweo.com/store/Matt51Westby. Again, thank you so much for watching, and hope you have a great day today. Take care. Bye.